this is Anthea Palmer from Sound Music Business. You may recall that last week I opened up for questions from you. Any question about your career in music or the music industry in general. And I have a lot of people on my list that aren't just musicians. I have managers and promoters, and in this case, a recording studio owner. So Stephen Randall from Custom Sounds Studio put in a question. They're in Florida, by the way, Florida in the US. So if you're a musician in the Florida area and you're looking for a recording studio, please look the guys up, and of course there will be a link to them in this post. But Stephen has asked me how to market his recording studio. How is he going to get customers into the studio? Now, I was really happy to answer this because I did for some years have a recording studio of my own, but I was lucky. Mine was co-located with a massive rehearsal studio complex and a venue. So I sort of had a captured audience. But nonetheless, we did some promotion, we had a pretty busy studio, and I also had a look at what some other studios are doing to answer this question. So here we go, here's my tips. The first thing is you have to be awesome. Now that probably goes without saying, but unless you do an awesome job of recording and you can produce some great product for bands and musicians, then all the marketing in the world is not going to help you. So firstly, make sure you're awesome. Secondly, you really need to have a content marketing strategy. And those of you who are members of the Music Marketing Machine know that I go on and on, I bang on and on about this stuff. But in the case of this particular recording studio, they don't have their own website. So their main web presence is on Facebook, which is very dangerous. Having a recording studio, you are in the unique position of having awesome content to release. Right? You can ask for permission to release snippets of the music you've recorded from bands, great, so that you can get that out there. But you can take photos of bands recording, video of bands recording, you can make videos of the studio, the physical space, you can make videos about the equipment that you have, you can make videos about the recording process. As a recording studio, you have so much opportunity to create great content. So Stephen Randall from Custom Sounds, you're not doing that right now. And that would be my number one tip for you. What I will do is there will be an information document available with this post, and I will put some links to some previous information on content marketing that I have released. The next two tips are about branding. Firstly, about your visual branding. Make sure that you have a great logo, colors, a slogan, fonts that you use over and over again. That's the power of branding. You need people to keep seeing your logo, your colors, your slogan, your fonts at every touch point. And what I mean by touch point is everywhere that people see you. So your Facebook page, your Twitter account, your blog, obviously, your website, but your marketing material, your signage, your brochures, your business cards, everything, everywhere where people see you should all be branded identically, because that helps to really give your brand some power. Now, Custom Sounds do have a great logo, I like it, and so certainly they have something already there that they can build on, which is nice, Stephen. Okay, moving on to another aspect of your brand, but this is more the touchy-feely part of your brand. These days, it's really important to have a niche, and so I would highly recommend that you think about communicating to people what you specialize in. Now, I've had a look at the very small amount of information that this particular studio has online, and it doesn't seem to communicate any niche, anything that they're particularly good at or have particular experience in. It does say that they're an award-winning studio, but it doesn't say anywhere what award they have won. So there's a chance, Stephen, that your studio is really good at doing something, whether it's a specific genre of music that you specialize in. It does say something about being a great vocal studio, so maybe that's something that you specialize in rather than, sort of full band recording. I don't know. But it is great to really think about what is your unique selling point. What makes you different from other studios? It's a competitive industry, the recording studio industry. There's a lot of you out there. So think about what makes you different and communicate that through your branding. Okay, what works for recording studios is building a reputation, right? Getting known out there through the industry. The best way to do that is to pull in some bands with a strong following. And not only a strong following, but bands that are musically admired. You want the really hot players in. Now, if you have already had a lot of experience with great bands, with great profiles, then I should be seeing that. I should see that as soon as I look at your online presence. You could say in your blurb, we've recorded bands like blah, 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 right? So you need to build your reputation by talking about who you've already recorded. If you haven't recorded anyone of note, then I would really research who it would be great to work with, who's going to help you in that regard, and offer to record a free single or a free EP. It'll be worth it for you because, again, it really helps to build your reputation in the industry. The next suggestion is to partner up. I mentioned that my recording studio was in the middle of a big rehearsal studio complex and venue, right? You're probably not as lucky in your position, but get out there. Who else is in your industry in the area? There probably are some rehearsal studios. I'm sure there would be some venues. So partner up with people. Talk about having a reciprocal arrangement where they refer people to you and you refer people to them. And making those sort of connections in the industry is very powerful. In fact, you can also put a referral program together for the musicians that have already recorded with you. So you can say to your existing customers and new customers, if you refer another new band to us that we haven't recorded before, then we will give you a discount off your next recording, or we'll record one free track, or whatever it is that you can come up with. But it does work well to set up a referral program for musicians. Now, here's something else to think about. If you have recording equipment that's easily mobile, and these days that's more and more the case as equipment becomes more and more compact, think about teaming up with a live music venue in your area and offering to do some live recordings, because that can be a very affordable way for bands to record and create some product. It can be a bit of extra cash in your pocket when the studio is not being used or isn't booked. And some musicians will even pay for it just as an opportunity to hear their set and really finesse their set and their songs and their live performance. So think about whether your equipment is mobile enough to go and do something live. Of course, it's also great promotion for the studio. Definitely hit the music forums. Right? There's so many music forums out there, and there are always bands and musicians posting questions about home recording in particular. Right? If you get on these forums, I see it all the time. I'm using this and this equipment, but I'm not getting a good result, or I'm about to buy some equipment. What would you recommend? This is a great opportunity for you to share your expertise. Right? You might think, well, hang on, they're talking about home recording and I don't want that. That's taking money out of my pocket. But that's not the case. They're going to do that anyway. So it's an opportunity for you to share your knowledge. And of course, at the bottom, you'll say who you are. You'll just have a link to your website and so on. And it's not just that person that will see you. It's the other people that end up reading that post will read your comments, and of course you're adding value to that conversation, and then hopefully they'll click through and have a look at your studio. By then, of course, you'll have a website up. But yeah, forums are a great way to really add value to the conversation, meet people online, and of course then share your link. Don't do it in a salesy manner ever, right? You're not saying, don't do your home recording, come and see us. No, what you're doing is adding real value to the conversation. That's what works. All right, now talking about some different products, maybe some products that you haven't thought of. Perhaps put together an amateur product where you're, helping wannabe singers or wannabe musicians, but it works well for wannabe singers that don't have their own band, that haven't recorded before, but really want to have a recording of their voice. They might be hobbyists, and it might be a dream of theirs to have their voice recorded. They can play it to their friends, they can keep it as a memento, whatever. So get together some session musicians. Great idea. Put a package together for amateur singers. You can then even market that to singing teachers and say to them, look, come in with us. We've got a special package. We've got a band that will play behind your singers, and they can end up with a great little recording that they can keep and love forever. So think about pitching something to the amateurs. Another thing is not-for-profit channels. So these days, choirs are so popular, right? Choirs, orchestras, schools, right? School bands, school music departments. So reach out to the not-for-profits, put some good pricing together. Not-for-profits often do a lot of raising money, right, for their school or their organisation. So get involved in that. That can really help. They might have an annual raffle, and you could put a nice little package together for some free recording. I'm sure you can come up with something, even if it's some free merch, some free t-shirts for your studio. Come up with something you can offer them that they can raffle off, or that will help with their charity. That's a good way to get your foot in the door. But definitely think about approaching the not-for-profits that might have some requirement for recording facility. Think about corporate jingles. There is money to be made in corporate jingles, and it might not be very rock and roll, it might not be very exciting, but it helps pay the bills. So team up with some songwriters. Again, you've got your session players lined up now. Go out and market to local businesses, organisations, and say, we can create a great jingle. We'll write it, we'll record it, we'll give it to you. The thing is, it's not just for TV and radio anymore that businesses use jingles. It's for their own blog post. At the beginning and at the end of all of my posts, you'll see my little jingle for Sound Music Business. That's actually written by a musician who's a friend of mine. I just used a snippet of his music. But you could do something very cool for businesses in your area. Now, lastly, and something I probably should have started with, recording, it's not just about the recording for bands and musicians, it's about the experience. Trust me, I have recorded many times in my bands over the years, and it's about the experience, right? There's nothing like a lockout in a recording studio, with your band. It's awesome. One particular recording that I did, which was an EP that my band did, it was one of the best times of my life, without exaggeration. I loved it. So make sure you're offering a great experience, because that band will then love you. They'll come back. They'll talk about it. Wow, that was a lot of information, right? Thanks for watching. I hope that was useful. Please remember to hit me up with your questions. I would love to hear from you. I'm Anthea Palmer from Sound Music Business. Onward and upward.